Hi, Recap Corner here. Today, we're gonna be doing a big breakdown to discuss our film Edge of Tomorrow, spoilers ahead. Be prepared, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a news report about an extraterrestrial invasion of Earth. The human race faces certain doom, until a new army of soldiers equipped with advanced mechanized armor appears on the battlefield of Verdun. At the forefront of this victory is Rita Vrataski, a special forces soldier, who single-handedly slays hundreds of the alien enemies, known as mimics. Major William Cage of the U.S. Army is featured in the news report, praising Rita and the war effort. Cage wakes up on a helicopter ride to London, only to find out that General Brigham has a different mission for him than he was expecting. Instead of helping the general improve his public image, he is being ordered to accompany the first wave of Allied troops landing in France and provide ground coverage for the media. Despite having no experience in the field, Cage attempts to blackmail the general through the media in a desperate attempt to get out of the mission. At first, the general appears to be giving in, but then he orders Cage to be arrested. Waking up in the afternoon, Cage finds himself on a pile of duffel bags at Heathrow Airport, which has been transformed into a military base. A sergeant thrusts a pair of boots into his hands, calling him a maggot, before Sergeant Farrell takes over. It turns out that General Brigham has issued orders to Farrell to demote Cage from officer to private. Cage is assigned to the J Squad, a group of eccentric soldiers comprised of Ford, Griff, Kimmel, Skinner, and Nance. When Farrell catches them gambling, he makes them eat the cards and readies Cage for the upcoming mission. On invasion day, Cage is put in a suit and the J Squad members do not bother to show him how to take his gun off safety mode, believing he will die fast. As they board the aircraft, the J Squad continue to tease Cage, further increasing his apprehension. Before they even had a chance to take off, the back of their airship was suddenly engulfed in an explosion, sending the squad hurtling down towards the French coast much sooner than anticipated. Although the plan was for a surprise attack to retake Europe, the mimics are well prepared and ambush and slaughter the humans. Sergeant Rita lands on the beach as well, but is killed within minutes. The J surviving squad's members are all quickly killed. Cage, who is still in shock and on the verge of death, reaches for a claymore mine when a giant blue mimic lunges at him, and both Cage and the blue mimic are killed in one explosion. Cage's body is drenched in alien blood. In the next scene, Cage wakes up in a state of panic atop the duffel bags, with Sergeant Farrell calling him maggot. Despite his desperate attempts to explain his situation and warn of the mimic's imminent ambush, Farrell takes Cage back to J Squad. Cage dies trying to save Rita, only to wake up again atop the duffel bags. This cycle continues, with Cage becoming more skilled in his attempts to save the members of J Squad and Rita with each loop. In one loop, he survives long enough to save Rita from the exploding ship that will kill the incoming mimics. Rita realizes what has happened and asks Cage to find her when he wakes up so they can both die again. Cage regains consciousness on the duffel bag, but begins to work with Sergeant Farrell and the J Squad to buy himself time to find Rita. Cage finally manages to escape after several failed attempts and finds Rita in a training hangar surrounded by training drones. Rita begins their meeting with a distant demeanor, but after hearing his explanation, she takes him to a weapons facility where her acquaintance, Carter, is employed. Carter is a leading expert in mimic biology. Upon their arrival, Rita reveals to him that she too was trapped in a time loop at Verdun, caused by the blood of the alpha mimic. Carter, formerly a researcher, developed a device that can locate the Omega, the overarching alien mind controlling all mimics, by piercing an alpha mimic with it. His theory is that all mimics are simply neural manifestations of the Omega. As Cage tries to comprehend the information, Rita explains that before they can track down the Omega, they must survive the impending invasion. She takes it upon herself to train Cage, repeatedly killing him and restarting the process each time he's wounded, allowing him to wake up on the duffel bags and begin again. As Cage struggles to grasp the situation, Rita reveals that to find the elusive Omega, they must first survive the upcoming invasion. To prepare Cage for the battle, she trains him by repeatedly killing him in combat and reviving him with the duffel bags. In one instance, when Cage sustains severe injuries, Rita instructs him to make sure he dies fully, as partial revival can break the loop. Rita explains that this is what happened to her and she was no longer able to repeat the loop. Suddenly, after one of Cage's deaths, he experiences a vivid mental vision where he sees the Omega located in a dam in Germany. Upon investigating, Rita and Carter conclude that Cage is actually an alpha infected with the blue blood, which is the reason for his visions. Despite numerous attempts, Cage and Rita struggle to survive the invasion. With each loop, they become stronger warriors, but their repeated deaths take an emotional toll, especially on Cage, who has grown fond of Rita. In one failed escape attempt, Cage ventures to a bar in search of a way out of the loop, only to be tracked down by the mimics and killed once again, sending him back to the beginning. Despite Cage's attempts to protect Rita and complete the mission on his own, he realizes he needs her expertise and bravery to succeed. He sets out to find her and convince her to join him on the journey to the German dam. Despite their rocky start and differing priorities, Cage and Rita grow closer and form an unbreakable bond as they face challenges and loop after loop, determined to end the invasion and defeat the Omega. Their journey together leads to a realization that they are stronger as a team, and they finally reach the dam, where they discover the truth about the Omega and the true meaning of their mission. However, their theories are put to the test when they finally make it to the dam. Despite their best efforts, they come up empty-handed. The Omega is nowhere to be found. In a moment of desperation, Cage takes a leap of faith and allows himself to be ambushed by an Alpha. But instead of stripping him of his ability to reset time, the Alpha only confirms their theories. The victory at Verdun was a trap, a ploy set up by the Omega to lure the humans into Europe, where they would be ambushed and annihilated. With this realization, Cage, Rita, and Carter come together to turn the tables on the Omega and save humanity from destruction. With no other leads, the device Carter created based on his theory, which even got him fired, is their only hope. However, Carter claims that the device is still not fully operational due to a lack of equipment. The good news is that they now know exactly what they need to do. As a result, Rita and Cage shift their focus to obtaining the equipment that General Brigham possesses. After a long journey and several failed attempts, Cage and Vertasky infiltrate the Ministry of Defense, where Cage persuades Brigham to give him Carter's prototype device for locating the Omega. With the device in hand, they embark on a treacherous journey to the Louvre Pyramid in Paris, determined to put an end to the Omega and the endless cycle of war. However, their escape is met with challenges as their getaway car crashes and the airbag knocks out Rita, leaving Cage to face the Omega alone. But even with the device and all their knowledge, Cage is uncertain if he will be able to defeat the monster and break the loop once and for all. In the following scene, Cage finds himself in a hospital, having been given a blood transfusion and thus losing his ability to loop time. Rita then frees them with only a few hours left before the Mimic invasion begins. Together with the J-Squad, they make their way to the Louvre to take down the Omega. However, their airship is attacked by the Mimics, resulting in half of the J-Squad's death. Undaunted, Cage and Rita, along with the remaining 3 J-Squad members, use the remaining engine power to slide the airship into the museum. The rest of the J-Squad bravely sacrifice themselves to buy time for Cage and Rita to make it into the museum. Rita and Cage arrive at the Louvre and she gives him a kiss as a thank you for getting her as far as he had. She then lures away the Alpha standing between them and the submerged Omega. In the ensuing chase, the Alpha captures and kills Rita, while Cage dives underwater to get to the Omega. Despite being stabbed by the Alpha, Cage manages to pull out all the grenade pins and drops the belt into the Omega, fulfilling their mission. As Cage steps off the helicopter, he looks around in amazement, realizing that the Omega's destruction had created a new timeline. The world has been spared from the Mimics, and humanity is safe. He sees that his friends and colleagues, who had died in the original timeline, are now alive and well. He is filled with a feeling of hope and joy, knowing that the future is brighter than ever before. Cage goes searching for Rita, and when he finds her, she doesn't recognize him. No matter how many times he meets her, she greets him with the same chilly demeanor, saying, "Yes, what do you want?" Despite this, Cage gives her a warm smile in return. Thank you for joining us into our review. We hope you had as much fun watching it as we did breaking it down for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video from us.